I can still remember that Saturday night as if it's carved into my bones. The strange thing is it didn't begin as a night you'd ever expect to remember. It began so ordinary, so safe, the kind of evening that whispers of routine and comfort. Sun had just slipped behind the old oak trees that lined our street, painting the horizon in gold and violet. The air carried the scent of sprinklers and cut grass. Dogs barked behind fences, and kids pedaled their bikes lazily, trying to squeeze in those last moments before dark. It was the kind of night you take for granted, the kind of night where danger feels impossible. My son Ethan was walking home from robotics club. Just 16, lanky, still figuring himself out. A hoodie, a backpack, and that proud little smile he always had when he'd been working on something exciting. He should have been able to walk those 3 blocks home without a second thought. But that night, an SUV with blocky white letters rolled toward him like a predator. Inside were 2 men dressed in uniforms they had no right to wear. The tall one barked, "Where do you live?" as if Ethan had already done something wrong. Ethan pointed nervously. "Just 2 blocks up, sir. I live right here." That wasn't enough. They demanded ID. Ethan explained he didn't have it, that he was just walking home from robotics. They didn't hear him more. Maybe they didn't want to. To them, his hoodie was suspicious. His backpack was suspicious. A boy walking home in his own neighborhood was suspicious. Before he could process it, they had him twisted against the hood of their SUV. Plastic zip ties dug into his wrists. His chest slammed against cold metal. They shoved him into the back. Cargo space. No seat, no belt. Just the hard plastic floor.
Ow.
They took his phone, rummaged through his bag, pawed through his notebooks, and even his granola bar, like it was evidence. And there, in the dark, Ethan lay staring at a slit of light. Between the front seats, listening to their voices. They sounded like cops. Used the words of cops. But they weren't. They were imposters. And my son was at their mercy at home. I stood barefoot in the kitchen, holding a bag of frozen chicken, debating whether to bake or grill. I glanced at the clock. 8:42. Ethan was late. Too late. And no text. I called once. Voicemail again. Nothing. By the 3rd call, dread was already clawing at my throat. I dropped the chicken and opened our tracker app. A red glowed back at me. Ethan's phone, sitting still at the edge of Sycamore Ridge, and my heart stopped. Asterisk, my stomach dropped. Ethan's phone hadn't moved for 15 minutes, stuck at the edge of Sycamore Ridge. I knew that place. A gated community services unit run by an HOA president who fancied himself a sheriff. I'd been in meetings about them. No oversight, no accountability. Just intimidation, dressed up as authority. Now my son's phone was there. I called. Mike, my deputy. My voice was steady, but my body trembled. Mike, I need a plate trace on a gray SUV. Sycamore Ridge. My son's signal is pinging there. Within minutes, he came back. No plates. Registered offshore. Carlet's a ghost. Vehicle. That's all I needed to hear. I slipped into my sneakers, grabbed my keys, and drove. Every nerve inside me screamed, but I kept my focus. On the way, I turned on my dash recorder. This is District Attorney Carla Dawson. 8:47 p.m. my son is. Believed to be unlawfully detained at Sycamore Ridge. Possible impersonation of law enforcement. It was a strange thing being both prosecutor and mother at once, but I knew. I had to wear both hats if I wanted to bring him home safe. I pulled up. The place looked like a bad stage set. A guard shack with blinds drawn, a fake sign, community services. No seal, no flag. Nothing real. I stepped out. Blazer sharp, badge at my hip. My voice rang out. This is District Attorney Carla Dawson. My son was unlawfully detained less than an hour ago. You have 3 minutes to release him, or face charges of unlawful restraint and impersonation of law enforcement. The tall man came out, face tight. This is private property. You have no jurisdiction here. I didn't blink. You have no legal authority. You laid hands on a minor. That's a crime, he faltered. Fingers twitched at his radio. I raised the folder in my hand. This is an emergency order under Texas Penal Code, Section 39.03. Any delay will count as obstruction. And then red and blue lights, sheriff cruisers rolled in, sirens slicing the night. The fake gate buzzed open. Their illusion of power shattered. Inside, I found Ethan. His wrists were raw, his face pale. The moment he saw me, his tears came. He collapsed into my arms, trembling, broken. "You're safe now," I whispered. "Nobody has the right to do this to you." Nobody. Around us, deputies bagged fake badges, zip ties, stun devices. Outside, the two men stood in real handcuffs, their cheap costumes stripped of all power, and my son was finally back in my arms. Asterisk. You'd think the story ended there with Ethan safe, the imposters caught. But safety isn't just physical. Trauma lingers. For weeks, Ethan was quiet. He barely touched his robotics projects. He woke at 3 a.m., pacing. Every time headlights passed the house, he flinched. I wanted to heal him. I couldn't erase what happened. All I could do was remind him. He was not powerless. 2 days after the rescue, I stood on the courthouse steps. Cameras flashed. I hadn't prepared a speech. I just spoke. This isn't just about my son. It's about every teenager judged. For a hoodie or a backpack, it's every parent refreshing a location app, praying it's just a dead battery. This is the danger of giving power to those never meant to hold it. The clip spread like wildfire. Parents shared it. Teenagers commented, "That could have been me." Lawsuits followed. The HOA president resigned, and a stalled ordinance banning unlicensed patrols was suddenly back on the table. But for Ethan, the change was slower. One day during a school assembly, he stood up. His voice shook, but he spoke. He told his story, not dramatic, just true, how it happened. What to do, what rights mattered. The room was silent. Then applause, real heartfelt applause. That was the turning point. He began visiting other schools, talking about unlawful detainment. One night he sketched a design, a circle with 3 words, "Know your rights." He printed pins with his allowance, handed them out. No campaign, no brand, just truth. And somehow it spread. Students posted photos. Teachers requested them. Parents thanked him. What began as a nightmare became something else. A reminder, a movement. When I think back, I don't just see imposters with zip ties. I see how fragile safety can be and how quickly power can be abused. I see a mother forced to be both protector and prosecutor. And I see a son who turned fear into strength. Sometimes I wonder if I hadn't been would he have come home? That night, how many kids never did? How many parents never even knew? The question keeps me awake. But I know this. Ethan was right. 3 words can change everything.